Hey everyone, Dan with Mac Rumors, and a few weeks back, Samsung announced its latest flagship, the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, and in this video we're going to compare it to Apple's upcoming rumored 2018 iPhone lineup. Before we get started, it is important to note that these are non-working, dummy iPhones, but should give us a pretty good look at what to expect in terms of design and the overall look and feel. Now, the design of the Note 9 really hasn't changed much from the Note 8. The most noticeable change comes from the fingerprint sensor moving from an inconvenient location in the upper corner to the right of the cameras to a more natural location for the finger to rest, which is on the back center. Other than that, you'll get a slightly larger 6.4-inch AMOLED display that does stretch from near edge to edge with minimal bezels, and an all-glass back with an aluminum frame. Samsung is still one of the remaining manufacturers to keep the headphone jack on the bottom of the phone, and of course, one of the main selling points next to that headphone jack is support for the S Pen. The S Pen can be used for tons of different tasks and features, including some obvious ones like note-taking and selecting text, but this year Samsung has added some more functionality to the pen, like the ability to use it as a Bluetooth controller of sorts for various tasks like taking a photo or controlling music playback. Moving over to the potential new iPhone lineup for 2018, we're looking at three phones this year: the 5.8-inch successor to the iPhone X, as well as a 6.1-inch and 6.5-inch model. The 6.1-inch is believed to be the cheaper option of the three, with an LCD display as opposed to OLED, and an aluminum frame compared to the stainless steel that should make its way into the 5.8-inch and 6.5-inch iPhones. Now, the 6.1-inch model is also rumored to have slightly larger bezels and a single lens camera on the back. The 5.8-inch and 6.5-inch models will keep the nearly bezel-less OLED display, stainless steel frame, and the vertical dual lens system. All three models will reportedly have the true depth camera system used for features like Face ID, but of course this means that all three iPhones will sport the infamous notch. Now, Apple was among one of the first major companies to start removing the headphone jack in its phones, and so at the bottom of each device you have some speakers and a lightning charging port. Considering that the bottom of the device has no slot for a stylus, one would assume Apple is continuing its stance against them for the iPhone, but rumors are suggesting that the second generation iPhone X and iPhone X Plus models could potentially sport the Apple Pencil. It's unclear whether this is actually going to happen, and if it does, it's not known if Apple will introduce a smaller version of the Apple Pencil or just add support for the current model. Now, my guess is that if Apple Pencil support is happening, the new iPhones will work with the current iPad version of the Apple Pencil. Regardless of Apple's plans, the S Pen is a pretty significant feature that sort of sets the Note apart from iPhones or other phones in general. In terms of the overall feel in the hand, the Note 9 is a bit awkward to use as it is a pretty tall phone, and reaching all aspects of the screen, especially when trying to use it with one hand, becomes nearly impossible. Now, that's not a huge knock, as we all know what we're getting ourselves into when choosing a phone that's large like this, but when you compare Apple's potential 6.1-inch and 6.5-inch iPhones, the design and the build of the display, especially with the technology that Apple was able to come up with by completely removing any bottom bezel, is pretty incredible. The difference when holding these two phones in your hand and what's most likely an overall easier experience to navigate the phone with one hand is pretty significant. Just by placing these phones back to back, the difference in height is pretty staggering, especially the 6.1-inch model. Now, these phones are only 0.3 inches apart in size, yet one would think that the iPhone has a much smaller display. With the 6.5-inch iPhone, the difference isn't nearly as big, but it definitely feels more comfortable in the hand compared to the Note 9. Now again, since these dummy phones are non-functional, we can't really compare performance at this time, but rumors are suggesting all three iPhones will feature Apple's A12 chip. The 5.8-inch and 6.5-inch iPhones may also feature 4 GB of RAM that should be on par with most other 2018 flagships in terms of performance. As far as software goes, and after using iOS 12 for the last few months, the software should be a lot more fluid and consistent compared to iOS 11. I also hope that Apple adopts the larger battery feature that Samsung went with in the Note 9, as it has a 4,000 mAh battery. Overall, the Note 9 is a quality upgrade from Samsung this year, and if you're in the market for a big phone, this should definitely be at the top of your list. But by judging from some of the leaks and renders and even these dummy units, the 6.5-inch iPhone X is going to be a pretty good competitor to the Note 9. And if Apple does lend support to the Apple Pencil and actually develops features for it on the iPhone, this could really do some damage to Samsung's phablet market share. Let us know what you think of the Note 9 in comparison to some of the larger iPhone X models that we should expect to see in the weeks to come in the comment section down below. This has been Dan with Mac Rumors. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.